Hi, welcome to this episode of the
do
Faster
a
Than
different
Lightspeed
bit.
podcast. I beat my brother to it this time because I'm your captain, Joey, and this is my executive officer.
No, I'm the captain. This is mutiny. We're gonna have to restart.
No, we're not restarting.
I'm gonna have to restart.
What? Well, no, you can't restart. Just keep going. You can do the intro. You can do the intro.
No, it's too late now. You ruined it. Yeah, this is the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast. So what are we doing today?
We're talking about the Batman.
We're reviewing the Batman and give you our thoughts and opinions on it. But first, should we just dive into news right away? Or is there anything you want to talk about beforehand?
No.
No? Alright. So, first off, what do you want to start with in our news?
How do you feel about how Aquaman and the Shazam was pushed back
Were they?
to 2023?
Wow.
Not surprising, but you know.
It seemed like they were releasing a lot. I thought they were 2023 anyways. No. Okay. That's not the news that we discussed, though.
That's the news that we
were
totally
including.
discussed. So what are you talking about?
Wow, you were like, we're doing these 3 pieces of news. We're not doing anything else. We're not talking about Dune castings. We're talking about these 3 pieces, these trailers. And it's like, oh, what about this thing that we didn't discuss?
You asked me.
What about the Lego Star Wars? They did a behind-the-scenes thing about making the open world.
The sand, it gets in the little crevices.
The weathering, that's like crazy. Because, yeah, not just sand, but snow and mud and all that. It's pretty nuts.
I just want to play as Ezra Bridger.
Why?
I want him.
The dumbest character in Star
No,
Wars.
first off,
second dumbest
Ezra
character
Bridger
in Star
has
Wars.
a special place in my heart because first off, I think he's
dumb.
I think he's the Jedi that's most like me.
Because he's dumb.
No,
He's
just
dumb,
personality
though.
wise.
He's real dumb.
I like how
I'll trap all of the soldiers into this building. It's like, oh, Thrawn's like, oh, okay, I'll just bomb the city now. It's like, what? What are you doing? It's like, oh, you removed all my troops from kill zones. All right. It's like, and Sabine with her dad's like, oh, that's where you got your artistic blah, blah, blah from.
still,
I'm like,
still,
really?
I think
Thanks.
Ezra's character arc and stuff is really good.
I think it would have been good if he fell to the dark side.
No,
Otherwise, it's like, all right, why he should have just stayed around and been Luke Skywalker, maybe.
no, he had to go through the trials, Kenny.
What trials? But he almost seems a bit too much like, oh, he could have been Luke Skywalker number 2.
Which is great.
Not great.
It's still very different. It's still very refreshing. No, he's far more interesting than like a Cal Kestis.
Could he have beaten Darth Vader, do you think? If he was still around, could he have basically taken over Luke's role and beaten Darth Vader?
You mean if the whales didn't take him away?
Right, yeah, if he stuck around.
No.
Okay. Could he and Luke have just like killed the Emperor and stuff? Would they have done any better together? Or would have Ezra ruined it for him?
No, he would not have ruined it.
Could have ruined it. He would have fell to Vader. He could have, I don't know. I think he should have went to the dark side
No.
or something.
Ezra and Luke, basically the same age.
Basically, yeah. He's like 2 days older.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game looks cool. They showed off some of the side quest stuff, which I'm like excited for that stuff.
You excited to feed the Sarlacc in particular, I'm sure.
Huh? Not really. I don't care about the Sarlacc. I want to go to I want to do some. I don't know what side quests I want to do. I want to run around Hoth. That's one I want to do. But I think we were discussing how this looks almost like because Force Awakens had a pretty good open world environment. Obviously not to the scale because it was restricted to the Force Awakens planets. And this will have a lot more of that. It also has reminded us of Disney Infinity, which had a pretty cool sort of open world aspect to it.
I like the prequels ones in that one, but you don't like them.
I preferred the original stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought the prequels was better.
The challenges in the original one were more fun.
That's true, because you could you can go mess with AT-ATs.
The challenges in, what was it? in the prequel was just like drive a speeder bike around Coruscant like a million times to try to do it fast enough. Horrible. Just the worst, it felt like.
I don't know.
Some of those were just, I hated them.
What character would you want to go, like, specially play as?
In this game, I just want to know what all their abilities are, because they have these, like, sort of class system in there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to know more about that. So, like, would, like, a Boba Fett get a bunch of cool abilities for all his gadgets? Or is it really just, like, could he legitimately fly, or is it not really a fly?
You'd be able to use, what's it called? What are those little missiles called? Whistling birds?
Mando has those, though.
Yeah. But if you play as Mando, could you use the whistling birds?
I doubt it. That seems like a specific character thing.
You know what people have said about the whistling birds, though?
That, like how the armor said that you shouldn't use Beskar for weapons, but that's a different type of weapon, supposedly made out of Beskar.
That's a different type of weapon, though.
Sure, okay.
But anyway, that's besides the point.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of characters, because they showed Mama the Hutt was a playable character who wasn't in any of the DLCs announced, and she's a Clone Wars introduced character, which implies that there will be Clone Wars and maybe Rebels characters showing up.
Please give me some Ezra Bridger.
Why? Why do you want?
I want to go to Lothal.
I want to play as Old Man Obi-Wan. I want to play as Alec Guinness Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's who I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I want.
Do you remember when Harrison Ford voice acted for The Force Awakens?
What, the Lego game? I didn't know that.
He did.
Are you sure?
That was supposed to be his last appearance as Han Solo.
Except it wasn't, though.
It wasn't. But that's what everybody was saying. Like, his last appearance as Han Solo is in Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens.
I'm glad they got him back for Rise of Skywalker for that scene.
I'm absolutely happy for that.
I'm really happy with that.
We love the sequel trilogy on this podcast.
I don't know about love, but I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it more than as much as a lot of other people.
I love it.
I think, like all of Star Wars, it's a mixed bag. Even the original, even Star Wars, there's parts of that movie I don't like. Trash compactor scene sucks. Okay, so let's go on to Obi-Wan Kenobi series. There was a teaser
Trash compactor is exactly what makes Star Wars. No, okay, but we're moving on.
Shut up. So the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, there was a teaser trailer come out. And there was also an article by Entertainment Weekly that, I don't know if you read any of that, but it was interesting because that article came out first. I saw on Reddit that there were images somebody posted from that article. And then I looked through the article, and then the trailer released, like an hour or two later. Mm-hmm. I feel like they had their scheduling off or something. Like somebody messed up. Like, we posted the article too early. Maybe. But what are your thoughts on the trailer?
I love how much it feels like a continuation.
Does it feel more like a sequel to Revenge of the Sith or a prequel to Star Wars A New Hope?
It gave me more of Rogue One vibes or Solo vibes, if you can believe that.
Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
It doesn't feel like either. I don't know. I'm at kind of a loss for words.
I feel like it's more of a sequel to Revenge of the Sith. That's what I was going to say. In terms of the music they used, which was all prequel music.
Oh, of course. But that's the marketing team. Like, what would get people excited for this?
I don't know if I would have wished more of a prequel to A New Hope. But yeah, it feels like a sequel to Revenge of the Sith almost, which is kind of cool. That they're trying to lean more into that for the more younger audiences that enjoyed those movies a bit more than in the past. A lot of returning characters from expanded material, specifically a handful of Inquisitors, which is pretty cool. Because we saw the Grand Inquisitor in there, who
is dead,
not played by Jason Isaacs, which I'm disappointed about. I wish it was played by Jason Isaacs. Yeah. But supposedly, I think I saw some comment on something about that it was a scheduling conflict that he would have done it, but scheduling, which that's disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing.
Because I don't think this voice fits it either. I don't know. We saw the fifth brother, who was also in Rebels. We saw there was some Inquisitor with like tentacles on her head. I don't think she was a Twi'lek. I couldn't recognize if she was in the comic book, the Vader comic book. But what else? And then they introduced this new Inquisitor that in the article they call her Inquisitor Reva. And she's the only Inquisitor that's not ugly and has a name. Or that they just introduced right away with a name. Right? I think I told you my theory about her. That she's totally looking to turn to the light side again.
I disagree.
I'm getting mad Iden Versio vibes, Joey. Iden Versio vibes. They are going to like her too much to make her evil.
I disagree with you.
Why?
I've talked about this with a couple of my friends that like Star Wars. And I have, ultimately, through these conversations, I have decided that although it would maybe help Obi-Wan get some sort of, like, conclusion on, like, look, I was able to redeem this one girl so I can redeem Darth Vader and stuff. I think that would go against some of the grain that they are probably trying to build.
The thing is, all these Inquisitors were Jedi at some point. Right?
Yeah.
At least that's what we're aware of, that basically every Inquisitor was a Jedi that was turned, right?
The Grand Inquisitor, Temple Guard.
He was a Temple Guard. Yeah, what was it? Second sister was just a Padawan, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was her name? Trilla?
Something like that.
I think it was Trilla. Yeah, to what I'm aware, they were all Jedi or something. So they all have that bit of instinct that the Inquisitor talks about. I think it's hard for them all to be like, I'm totally bad now, and that if I meet one of the best Jedi in the galaxy, that I'm not gonna just try to revert back to that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe there's some hope. I feel like there's Iden Versio syndrome coming up.
Regardless of what happens, whether she turns good or bad or whatever.
She's dying.
Can we agree? She's dead.
She's probably will die. We also thought Ezra would probably have to die because he was a Luke Skywalker. You can't have two Luke Skywalkers around.
I didn't think Ezra was gonna die. What they did with Ezra was like, they're doing that though. They're just sending him off to who knows where.
So we saw the Inquisitors. We see Obi-Wan, who's looking pretty good. We've got... Was Obi-Wan using a blaster in the trailer? I think... Because there was a character who I think was Obi-Wan was using a blaster.
So uncivilized.
Right. But, I mean, it makes sense if he doesn't want to use a lightsaber to oust himself, right?
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like a Kanan Jarrus, where they're going to be like, on the battlefield, everybody's going to stop firing, and Obi-Wan's just going to walk out, ignite the blade, Inquisitors at him.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know why he is leaving for his mission, because apparently he leaves Tatooine.
Well, it could go into my theory, which is that the Inquisitors come to Tatooine looking for a Jedi. Obi-Wan's like around, and Uncle Owen's around and hears about this, and they assume immediately that they're looking for Obi-Wan, but that it's actually going to be like a Cal Kestis, or maybe some other Jedi they could introduce. I think I would love a Cal Kestis because they have an actor for that already, who would be good.
That'd be so cool.
I know, right? Because I loved him in Gotham and stuff.
But
Cameron Monaghan, right? Yeah, I would love him. I would love for him to show up, and then it's more that he has to lead him off of Tatooine.
I think
to get him away from Luke. It's like, you're bringing too much attention to me right now, dude. What were you thinking?
I think it's just too much.
Too much of what?
I think we can't just start mending video game stuff with live
melding.
Yeah, I think it's different.
Why?
I just don't think you can.
Do you think if you put Cal Kestis in here though, that you would have to have played those games? I don't think so.
First off,
because you can easily say, "Oh, he's a Jedi that survived Order 66."
I don't know if the timeline will match up. How long?
So supposedly, I did figure this out. So, because in terms of the timeline, it would make sense because, what was it? The show is set in 9 years before Battle of Yavin. Fallen Order is 14 years before. So there's like a 5-year gap between that game and Obi-Wan. And then Rebels is like 5 years.
How long
starts
after
5
Revenge of the
years.
Sith does Fallen Order take place?
I don't know.
Because that's what you gotta look up.
Why does that matter?
Because Obi-Wan's like 6 years after.
No, but this says, who cares about that? It's still, Obi-Wan is 9 years before that, and Fallen Order is 14 years before. So we still know that it's 5 years between. Why does it matter if it's in reference to Revenge of the Sith? What do you mean?
I don't know. I think you're gonna be leading people on to something, and it's not gonna happen.
I'm not. What? I don't know.
I think Kanan Jarrus showing up is more likely.
No, he's doing his own thing.
He is.
Because then it's also like, oh, Ezra's looking for Obi-Wan. I've met Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's what doesn't make sense.
You can't do that.
Remember?
You can't do that. I thought of that. I thought of that.
Right. Well, then why did you bring it up?
Because you're bringing up Cal Kestis.
Right. Cal Kestis is a character. Because here's the other thing. My biggest problem about this show that could be an issue is that 90% of the characters that we know are in this show, we know what happens to them. Right? We know what happens to, like, Obi-Wan, Uncle Owen, Luke, I guess, Vader, nearly all those Inquisitors. We know what happens to them. And that we need a character that we don't know the fate of, which you could maybe count as this Reva Inquisitor, that, we don't know what happens to her if she turns to the light, and then she's not necessarily destined to get killed as an Inquisitor. But as an Inquisitor, you're pretty much like, she's probably dead. She's probably going to die pretty soon. She's like not going to make it that long, because that's kind of what Inquisitors are fated for, in my opinion. And you need a character that you don't know what's going to happen with them. Some sort of secondary character. And I would say a Cal Kestis would be that. I think it would be cool. I think people would like that.
I got something else for you.
Okay.
The chance of this happening, I think, is less than Cal Kestis. But I want to mention it. How do you want, do you want Ahsoka to show up in this show?
No.
No.
Because, again, Ezra's looking for Obi-Wan. It's like, I know where Obi-Wan is.
Ahsoka's gone at that point.
But even, I don't know.
She's off in time travel.
Right, but still, I don't know. I don't like the idea that, why didn't we go find Obi-Wan? Like, we could have had 4 Jedi as part of the Rebels. You know? Ahsoka's like, nah. Right?
I think Ahsoka...
isn't that crazy that at some point...
I would say the problem with having Ahsoka be in it is that how can you have... you can't have an Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Darth Vader in the same room, because Ahsoka sensed Darth Vader and figured out his identity then.
That's partly, sure.
So you can't really do that.
I think you need a more inexperienced Jedi, like a Cal Kestis. You could still pull off that he's not super experienced, because obviously he couldn't fight off Vader in any way.
Yeah.
He probably did. I don't know if he did worse against Vader than Ezra, but at least equally worse, equally as bad against Vader as Ezra did.
If Cal Kestis shows up, that would be awesome.
I think it would be the best situation.
The best situation? I don't know if I'll say that.
Would you prefer Cal Kestis showing up or Reva being an Iden Versio?
I don't like. I like them both.
Because those are the two situations that I foresee. Because I think, because what was it? Cal Kestis is the one that attacked the Inquisitores, whatever the Inquisitor's base was, which we see in the trailer. Pretty cool. Already, that's a reference to Fallen Order, isn't it? So I'm sure those Inquisitors are pissed at him. It's like, he went into our place and attacked us and freed her, whoever, right? I think the Inquisitor, and that's why they send 4 of them after him, right?
We're moving on.
Wow, okay, just moving on.
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to make any bad predictions.
Are you tired of Tatooine yet?
No. Tatooine's home.
Okay. I'm a little tired of it, but if you're doing an Obi-Wan show, what the hell do you expect?
No, Tatooine's great.
Right.
You gotta stay in Tatooine.
Okay. I know some people have been getting tired of it.
I know.
Anything else from it?
I want to see Coruscant again.
I don't need to see that. Not in this show. I don't think it would make sense.
Not this show, but I just want to say Coruscant in general. I want to see again.
We have seen it again.
When?
Rogue One.
Did we?
There was a little flashback, yeah. Yeah, there was a little flashback to when Jin was a kid. I think there was some meeting between her dad and Krennic.
Oh, that's
and I think they were on Coruscant.
I thought you were about to say like, oh, like that's but that's the equivalent of saying like Mando season 2. You see Grogu getting shot at by those.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. The episode that I'm looking forward to the most in Kenobi is the episode just about Mando, where Obi-Wan doesn't show up. Obi-Wan's not in it, and it's just the Mandalorian doing. Or maybe it's Boba Fett this time. They it's whoever had the show before you gets an episode in your show. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be? That would be so.
Yeah, Ahsoka shows up. It's Ahsoka's episode.
Would be funny. People would get annoyed by that. It's like, what are we doing? Just put these episodes in their shows, maybe.
Prequel fans will scream and kick.
Yeah, I don't know.
We are amongst them. But if that's the best episode of the show, I can't complain.
Right.
All right, let's move on.
There was a trailer for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. What was your thought on that trailer?
Shows nothing, I love it.
What?
It shows absolutely nothing, and I love it.
I hate that it shows nothing.
I
made the cast reveal video,
which shows far more,
which just introduced far more characters and elements to the show. Mm-hmm. This one's like, what are we doing? I don't know.
I think the show comes out next month.
Was that Pike on the horse? I don't even know who that guy was on the horse.
What's Pike?
When's that?
What do you mean?
When is that?
Spoilers for Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Okay. Maybe after when he had his debriefing of, hey, don't talk about, Discovery anymore.
He retired for, 5 minutes?
He decided to go ride a horse in the snow.
But he had a beard as long as, his hair.
So I can grow a beard. I can grow a beard
in 2 months?
Pike is a Pike man. He's a strong,
all gray? Nah, man, that's not Pike.
That's Pike.
Who was talking with Pike then? To me, it sounded like a Chris Pine.
We haven't...
Which didn't make sense to me. I'm like, why does it sound like Chris Pine?
Ultimately, we just have to watch.
When is Kirk showing up in the show?
Kirk?
Yeah. Season 2? Season 2, I think, yeah.
I think maybe end of season 1.
Because they did Spock season 2 of Discovery. I think they're waiting season 2 of the show for Kirk.
I don't know if you can.
How?
Why
not? They did Spock.
How would you feel if they have a time travel episode where they get some original actor for a William Shatner to come back?
No.
You wouldn't want him walking around on the Enterprise bridge one last time.
Old William Shatner? Not really. He's really out of it. I don't know.
No. I feel like I want to see some crossover thing happen in this show.
Why?
I feel like this is back to the episodic storyline.
Okay, then don't do the crossover. I don't know what
you want. Crossover episode in this?
No. Nope. Lame. That's lame.
I want this to be back in the episodic form, and I think it will do that off of this trailer. I just got that gist.
I disagree. I think it'll feel a bit more episodic, but it's still going to have some overarching story.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Well, of course, that has to be the case. There has to be some sort of... It's a modern day TV show.
Modern day streaming show, yeah.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of...
People were annoyed by Mando when they started doing stuff that seemed pretty episodic.
But those were great episodes, though. I don't know why people were like, I don't care about this show. I don't care about this episode. Why are they protecting this village from the ATS? It's that's the best episode of the show at that time.
Not really.
It was. That was my favorite episode.
No, the best one was the prison ship.
That's also an episodic one that people didn't like.
That one had more interesting characters, though.
Oh my gosh!
The village one didn't have very interesting characters.
You're just like Bill Burr. You're just like Bill Burr. That's all you like.
The whole crew that was in that. They had the droid pilot. They had the Twi'lek brother and sister. Remember that? Mm-hmm. There was Mr. Krabs.
I like money.
What's that actor's name? I don't remember the actor's name.
I don't know.
But he was also Lex Luthor.
Get that blaster on my face, man! No!
That was a good episode.
It has the voice actor for who Anakin from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, Matt Lanter. I remember his name, but I don't remember.
Well, it's Mr. Krabs. What were we talking about again?
Crazy about it.
Oh, we're
Strange New Worlds trailer. You were saying it was gonna be more episodic.
Yeah, I want that. I want that from the show. That's literally the best part about Lower Decks. Even though I tried watching season 2, and
I just
can't get
want
through it.
good characters. Like Discovery had all right characters. You know, Discovery didn't really have great characters.
No, you're about to say Discovery had great characters.
I was thinking of Picard. Picard had all right characters.
Yes.
You haven't seen any of the new season.
I'm not able to watch it at college.
In the beginning of this new season, they really introduced the characters as like, it's like, all right, you can like these guys now. Most of these guys now.
Yeah.
Like they're in a good position, and then they strip that away from them. Because you've seen the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that, yeah, it's like timeline change, right? Which annoys me. But I hope in this one, based on, again, that character or the cast video, I think all these characters will be pretty cool.
Spoiler for Picard season 1. He's an android now.
He's a golem. He's in a golem body.
Did we review Picard season 1 on the podcast?
No, because it was like a year before we started the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
It's been like 2 years since Picard season 1.
I wish we discussed that one on the podcast. Because that would have been.
Did Discovery season? Is there a new Discovery season that
Yes.
we should be watching? That we should have been watching and given a review of and trashed on?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe. We haven't watched much of that show.
I think we're like aiming down.
What do you mean aiming down?
I think if we trash on Discovery, I think we're gonna get the wrong type of audience. Like we're gonna be like, yeah, Star Trek sucks now. When we're like trying to be optimistic in the future.
Okay, here's a question. So does is there a shared group between New Star Trek sucks and New Star Wars sucks?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Or do you think those are pretty independent parties?
Oh, absolutely not.
Interesting.
You know what? Want to tell you why? Because stupid Jar Jar Abrams over here he ruined Star Wars and he ruined Star Trek.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
J.J. Abrams ruins franchises.
Yeah, you're kind of right about it. Do you think they're right on both, though?
Oh, no.
You think they're right only on the Star Trek part and not on Star Wars?
I like Beyond. Star Trek Beyond is probably my favorite Star Trek movie.
Okay. Is that counting as new Star Trek, though?
Yes. That came out
I'm thinking more about
4 years ago.
Kurtzman Star Trek, though. People are have been more angry at Kurtzman Star Trek than even reboot.
I like Lower Decks season 1.
Lower Decks is alright.
There's aspects of
Lower Decks is
Discovery
like the Mandalorian of new Star Trek. Where like people like that show outside of all the other mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
Would you agree? You would agree with that?
Oh yeah. I like parts of Discovery.
Sure.
Overall, Picard's okay.
Season 1's okay.
Yeah.
You haven't seen season 2 yet.
Yeah.
It's not that season 2's bad. I'm sure we'll review it at some point.
Yeah.
It's not that it's horrible. It's just could be better.
I don't know why they would decide this is the frontier. This is the last frontier you have yet to conquer. It's like just time travel Nazis.
It's like not even. It's just like I don't get it. We'll get into that at some point, I'm sure.
We will. When I watch it.
Once you've actually watched it. Yeah. So we're about half an hour now. So let's talk about. I think we've spit silly a little bit. So we can talk about the Batman now. Are we gonna do non-spoilers?
No, it's been out for a week.
Okay. Well, we know one viewer who refuses to see movies in theaters, though.
Are the main.
We've got one viewer that's like
one viewer
that I talked to on a basis.
Sure, let's do that.
A friend of the podcast, we'll call him. A friend of the podcast refuses to watch movies in theaters.
Okay.
You should probably watch this. You should just see him.
Why don't you want to go watch a movie?
Just go see a movie. You don't need friends to see a movie with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take a risk. Okay, so
take a risk.
Take a risk.
So
now we'll do non-spoilers first. We'll do a short non-spoiler section.
Should we give the numbers?
Do you want to start with your number? Yeah, I was about to ask.
Oh.
Do we want to start with numbers?
No.
No?
We got to build to it. I said we'd go into spoilers.
What?
And then we just kind of
We start with spoilers, then non-spoilers.
No, we do non-spoilers, but then we give our number after the spoilers.
Why? No, we have to give the review for the people that haven't watched it yet. They need to know whether or not to watch it.
Okay, that makes sense.
See the logic? Yeah.
It's like, great, this is a one that you should and then shouldn't watch after they've already seen it.
Right. So, we'll do non-spoilers first.
Okay.
So, I like this movie. I like almost everything about it. I think art-wise, like, it looks incredible. I think costumes are all really good. I think the action's all really good. I think all the characters are really good. Yeah, pretty much. I think pretty much all the characters are really good. I think the acting's pretty good. I think the plot overall is pretty good. I think it could be a bit better as to some of the direction that they... Because there is some twist. Some, like, parts where it's, like, a little difficult to follow, or it kind of feels like it was out of left field. Like, okay, where'd that come from? I watched this twice, by the way. Maybe we should also say that. I saw this twice. You only saw it once. So I saw it that first weekend, and I saw it with you when you were able to see it. So I might have a different perspective. So I'm wondering if I'll be able to answer questions that you might have about it, if you bring anything up.
There's like 3 songs in the whole movie. I think this movie's a mixed bag.
Wow, okay, that's spoilers.
Is it?
I like the soundtrack, though, anyways. Because it has, I mean, yeah, basically all the music, a lot of the motifs and stuff from the trailers, that's like 90% of the music in this movie. Which, I mean, I love that music for the trailers. So I was pretty happy with that. A lot of times, music in trailers, up until super recently, music in trailers have not reflected the music in the movies, which always leaves me disappointed. I was like, oh, I wish this song from the trailer was in.
I Wanted to Be Sedated was in Spider-Man Far From Home, because it was in the trailer.
What was that?
I Want to Be Sedated by the Ramones was in the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer.
Okay.
But not in the movie.
But was that in Homecoming, though? I think that was in Homecoming.
No, you're thinking about Blitzo Rapidy something by the Ramones. Another Ramones song.
Know.
A different Ramones song.
Okay, okay.
Was
but right. You know what I mean,
go.
right? Yeah. I don't know if you were trying to say that sarcastically, or if you were.
I'm using it as an
like
example.
Right. But I mean, there's like music from a lot of the Star Wars trailers that's like they were definitely trailer music, or in some Marvel movies it feels like that too.
Back there.
But in this, it's like everything in the trailer, you get that. You're getting that. I also really like this version of Batman. That this is not your Dark Knight Batman. This is definitely a less experienced Batman. It's taking him a lot longer to figure out how he's gonna be Batman still. Like, he's been Batmaning for, I think he said he's in his 2nd year. I think he says in there.
Yep.
And I really like it. What's your overall thoughts?
I really don't. It's kind of hard to pinpoint things, so I'm going to really try to be careful with my words.
Okay.
It is still a developing Batman, of course.
Right.
It feels like multiple origin stories.
Okay.
I feel like it gives good groundwork. The design of the world, the lighting is really good.
Mm-hmm. I think they filmed it in Chicago, which is the same that they did for a lot of Dark Knight and Gotham as well.
Yeah. It looks like exactly how you would expect Gotham to look like.
It really feels that way. Well, because it's always so dark. It's like so dark all the time, and it's raining, which, yeah, I agree.
The suit for Batman is perfect.
Is this your favorite Batman suit, would you say?
It absolutely is.
Really?
I thought about
Does it have the nice ears?
It has the ears.
Because you
has
like
the
long
ears.
Are these long? I was going to ask you if these were long enough for you.
Yeah, they're not devil horns. You can't just have a little pee-pee blops. You need to have them be long and scary and bad ears.
I wasn't sure if these were long enough for you.
These were great. I thought about that throughout the movies. Like, those ears are, they're peak They're peak height.
Okay. So you talk about setting and costume.
Mm-hmm. The Catwoman suit was bad though.
Why?
She's just wearing a little bag on her head.
Do you think it's better than the Dark Knight Rises Catwoman though?
No.
I think it's better than that. I think this is more accurate. This costume reminded me of like the old Lego Catwoman.
They're both bad.
What about the Batman Returns costume? Where it's literally just latex with stitches on it.
No, there's not been a good Batman suit.
Batgirl or Catwoman. Batgirl suit.
Batgirl. Spoiler. Whoa, who knew that we're in the spoiler segment? We're talking about Batgirl?
No Batgirl in this movie.
No.
Way too young for there to be a Batgirl yet. No. Oh, you're saying that maybe. Well, I gotta write that down.
Cut that. We're cutting that.
I didn't realize.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. What's that supposed to mean? I was trying to choose my words.
Well, now don't keep talking about it. I'm going to have to keep bleeping. I'm going to try bleeping.
No, you can't do that.
All right, we'll keep going. All right, so what were we talking about? We were talking about Catwoman costume.
Yeah.
What about the acting for her? Did you like the character of Catwoman?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has that sort of like, nothing's has ever been right to me before. I am well within my right to kill whoever I want.
Whoever, and these guys are privileged people.
That's exactly
which felt like what she would say.
That's exactly.
It's not even like, it's political maybe or anything like that. If you would think that.
No, it's
what that character would totally say.
I did think of that during the movie. I'm like, no, this fits.
That character would say that. Yeah.
This character, yeah.
So, is that a spoiler? That's a line that she says.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. What about Alfred? Did you like Alfred? Andy Serkis Alfred?
He worked. I
wish there was more of him. They didn't show enough of him.
Agreed. I didn't want to say that, but yes, I agree.
I feel like Gordon got a lot. Alfred kind of got the short stick.
Yeah.
If anybody got the short stick, it was probably Alfred.
Yes. I will say, no Robin in this movie.
Okay.
Very sad.
You wanted a Robin.
I want Robin. This movie is very emo.
Emo? You mean dark, maybe?
No, I would say emo.
Dark, gritty.
Batman never stops really being Batman.
Sure.
He never just has a chance to like, they're European, so they can go swim in the, what's it called? In the
There's no
fountain.
What was it? Eccentric Bruce Wayne. That shows up, which I'm fine with.
I wish there's a tad of that.
I don't need that. I'm okay with it being a Batman movie where he is Batman all the time. This is peak Detective Batman as well.
It is.
This is the most detectiving I think we've ever seen Batman do.
Agreed.
Okay. Which to me is awesome.
I feel like most of his detective work was like shining a light.
What do you mean? Well,
it's
dark.
There's riddles.
It's a lot of that. It's a lot of riddles. There's a lot of... Riddler puts in a lot of like codes and stuff that he's trying to figure out. And not even just riddles. It's a lot of interpreting answers to riddles too.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool. Like they're like figuring out a solution to something and being like, oh wait, that's not it. What is it then? And trial and error of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Really good. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it was.
Was there anything you didn't like?
I think I want to say that's the first.
But there were some.
There's some shots that just kind of went on a little bit too long. Riddler's plot was like. I didn't like.
Okay.
His end goal, I didn't like at all.
Okay. Yeah, we could get into that.
Yeah. It took me a while to really get invested into the movie as well.
Interesting. Okay. I think there's a lesson. I was going to ask you, what's the life lesson of this movie?
I I seriously, I don't want to. That's spoiler.
Okay.
No, that's
but there's a life lesson in this movie.
They tell you the life lesson at the end of the movie.
Okay.
They make the life lesson pretty clear.
Yeah, this movie is brutal in the violence too, isn't it?
I wouldn't say nearly as brutal as I thought it was going to be.
Sure. Okay.
Don't expect much blood.
No, there's not a lot.
There's a lot of punching off camera.
Is there?
You see Batman punch someone, and then like the other person that he's punching isn't really on set on the camera. That happens like 3 times.
I don't know about that. I don't think that's true. But I love all the different gadgets, even though a lot of the gadgets were like things we've seen before.
Oh, I like sci-fi gadgets.
Some of that, yeah, there was some like new stuff that actually there was one part that I felt like was in Young Justice, because I was watching that recently.
Yeah. It's not. It's very like the gadgets are pretty campy.
What were all the gadgets? Because in here he doesn't have like a grapple gun. It's like a thing in his gauntlet. It seemed like that extended out and he shot. The symbol, his bat symbol, is actually like not even a batter. He doesn't have batarangs in this movie.
Yeah, he does.
Does he ever throw batarangs?
It comes from his chest.
Does he ever throw that though? He doesn't throw it. He uses it more like a knife.
Yeah, he did.
Than a batarang, right? He had 2 grappling hooks, actually, didn't he? But yeah, I think he could use a few more gadgets, like straight up gadgets.
There's a lot of. I would say that there's like a lot of good. I do my own stunts. Moments from our famous segment. I do my own stunts. I feel like there's a lot of good one-liners in this movie.
I do my own stunts.
Do you not remember the segment?
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
That's our Rocketeer callback. Is that what it was?
It's the opposite of.
I try to remember.
It's the opposite of. Is there an echo in here? Segment. It's the opposite, which is.
But what does that segment pertain? What does this segment pertain to?
There's a lot of good one-liners.
It's and a lot of one-liners.
Yeah. Who would have thought? The Bat and the Cat. I think that's in the trailer, so I want to say that one.
Well, that's just. I feel like that's the name of the first episode in the animated series. Was The Bat and the Cat.
Okay.
It might have been, or it's a comic book run, or something. It's something.
Yeah.
It's definitely the name of something that's in Batman.
Something I really liked about this movie is it always felt like.
It felt like Batman's gonna kill someone, but he doesn't.
It does feel that way.
This is like the second Batman to not kill somebody.
It feels.
Do you know who the first one is?
What do you mean? Every other Batman kills people.
No, there's one other Batman actor that does a Batman that does not kill somebody.
Animated series, I guess. We don't know.
I don't know about that. I'm talking about live action.
Oh, it's like George Clooney, isn't it?
Yeah, it's George Clooney, Batman and Robin. He does not kill anybody.
Yeah.
It's that one, the most campy Batman, and this one possibly the most realistic or gritty.
I wouldn't say realistic.
At least gritty. Right?
Oh, gritty, yeah.
Yeah. To me, that's hilarious too. That's also cool because it means he's consistent, unlike say a Dark Knight, who 100% kills people inadvertently and totally on purpose.
Have you seen his Batarang? It's like he stabs people.
I mean, he also just throws Two-Face off of he tackles Two-Face off of a ledge and kills him.
Yeah.
Like, totally. Like, that's killing him. So, let's give our scores so we can get into spoilers.
I really don't want to give a score for this movie.
Why? You have to give a 1 or a 0.
I want to get into... How about you say your score?
Why?
And then both you give a rating for each one of yours. Your first and second viewing.
No, that's dumb. That's not how it works. Give your score. Give
your score.
Give your score.
You give your score.
No, give your score. We know what mine is. Give your score.
A lot of the things, it was really hard to get into.
It's really dark. Give your score. Give it.
I guess I would have to give it a 1.
There you go. You give it a 1. I give it a 1 as well. There's no takebacks.
We're gonna go look. We're gonna be talking about movie of the year, and I'm sure this will be in the conversation.
So, that's a total of 3 in binary. So let's get into spoilers. So
our one viewer should leave.
So if you, I mean, you should have already left, to be honest.
Yeah.
Straight up.
We bleeped some things.
Hopefully I remembered to edit the spoiler that totally occurred in the middle of the not spoiler.
They won't know.
Hopefully it was bleeped. I mean, I want to try bleeping it.
Or just remove it.
No, I'm gonna bleep it.
I try to watch my words very carefully, and I just dropped a total like.
It's like, what does that imply?
What does that mean?
But yeah, spoilers now. You implied that it was that Alfred totally could have gotten killed. I totally thought they were like possibly kill Alfred. Like this felt like the movie they could have killed him.
They couldn't.
It would have felt weird. It's like they didn't show him enough to kill him.
Yeah.
But it felt like the movie where they could have, because maybe they weren't trying to get you too attached to him.
The whole thing about like, oh, well, you can't have. What was it? What was I about to say? It was like, oh, you're not my dad, Alfred. And then it's like, you're just gonna kill him like that? It's like, that sucks.
Right. But they redeemed it, because they made it where like, yeah, Alfred's, he still tried his best, especially after how he has definitely felt bad since the Waynes died.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they hold hands when he's in the hospital.
Yeah. Everything feels very, very much.
So there's like 3 or 4 twists in this movie.
There's a lot. Everything feels very, very personal to Batman. Like everything feels like an attack on him.
What do you mean?
Let's talk about the Riddler's plan first, I think.
The Riddler's plan. The Riddler's plan is that he learned when he was accountant or something. He learned that the renewal fund that was set up by the Waynes initially, or was intended, when Thomas Wayne was running, he said he was going to run for election, but even if he wins or loses, that he will set up this renewal fund to help fund and just make Gotham, just try to bring life back into the city through various necessities and stuff. He finds out that that's not what this is being used for, that the renewal fund is actually just being doled out as bribes to various officials, and that Falcone is the one doing this. He's the one that's running this whole scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being used to pay off the mayor and DA and the commissioner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that at some point, Falcone made a play to remove Maroni, who was the real drug dealer in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Remove Maroni to get rid of his cut, and then basically bring in Penguin, who didn't know about this whole system.
Fish Mooney.
It's dumb. It's Penguin. I like Penguin in this movie too.
I
really
thought he could have been better.
You would want him more cartoony, but you don't want Danny DeVito Penguin either.
I don't want him biting off some guy's nose. No.
What was I thinking? So that's more or less his plot. So he's basically going after that, basically all the highest officials, and Falcone also in particular, plus Bruce Wayne, because he's just like, I have to cleanse this city of corruption, and that he was inspired by Batman to do so, because Batman has also been vengeance, fighting scum in there, and this is, I think they're implying that, because I don't think this Batman has fought a supervillain yet by the time of this movie. He's been kind of just doing, that street level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's been taking out, the muggers and the robbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was involved in the Maroni stuff at all.
We don't know who trained him. Maybe he fought Ra's al Ghul.
No, I think he said Alfred. Alfred said he taught him to fight as best he could, which is somewhat similar to what they were doing in Gotham in the beginning, right? As I think they, Alfred references being in the service at some point, so he must have been he was probably. It seems to be a common thing for Alfred now. He's usually like some sort of ex-military commando. Which
Alfred prequel movie.
They've already done that. Haven't you heard of Pennyworth? It's not a movie, but it's a show. That's going. That's I think on HBO Max right now.
Oof.
I have no interest in that show.
I won't either. I just said it as a joke.
It's not a joke though.
Not
It's
a joke.
thing.
Somebody actually greenlit that
Somebody
story.
has been greenlighting it.
Do you think they're gonna do a crossover with the Aunt May prequel TV show?
It's so dumb. What was I at? So that's more or less the Riddler's plot, and then the twist, right, is that he's not just going after these people after he kills Falcone, but that he is also gonna put the city underwater, basically.
Why?
That's the part, yeah, that I understand your confusion. Is that how I see it though? Is that he just thinks that the whole city's corrupt, that there's no real saving it, that he doesn't have any hope for the city at all in a whole. So he wants to do a Ra's al Ghul and just purge the entire city.
I thought they were gonna do just cut, like just blow up the bridges. I was like, oh, they're blowing up the bridges. Look at all the bomb placements.
Like No Man's Land,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's basically what this is. This is more akin to, I've watched some videos about Batman Year One, or there was some comic book that was Batman Year One, which is basically this exact thing, where the Riddler himself, like, puts Gotham underwater, like exactly this.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place more afterwards instead of this is like it ends with that. But I mean, this is like a Riddler thing that he has done, which okay, but yeah, his reasoning doesn't make too much sense, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel a bit like a Ra's al Ghul, like I just need to cleanse this city, bathe it in fire or weird fear gas, right?
Yeah, it's just to me that part, like, oh, now he just wants to kill everyone. It's like, okay, that's a jump.
Right.
I thought he was like,
did you think that the introduction of the seawalls was sudden?
yeah, it was.
Because in my first viewing, I'm like, he's blowing up the seawalls. Like, seawalls? What?
Yeah.
But second rewatch, in the rewatch, in the beginning of the movie, the right beginning of the movie, we have the mayor watching his debate with the other candidates, right? He mentions the renewal fund being used to keep for upkeep of things such as blah 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 seawalls, and that's it. That's like the only one that I remember as a reference to the seawalls, which is about, what would you say, 2 hours and a half before the seawalls are said to be blow up. It's like, okay, wow.
Then it started getting like maybe blowing up the seawalls would like help somebody like Killer Croc, but Killer Croc isn't showing up in this movie.
No, not in this universe.
I was like, what the heck are they doing? I was so confused. Well,
it seemed like also it was about also bringing the mayor and just everybody to possibly purge as well into one place for his followers. That might have also been a big part of that plot.
I feel like it would have been cooler if maybe like the mayor was Harvey Dent or something.
The mayor, but he's the DA though.
Harvey Dent?
Harvey Dent's always the DA, yeah.
Well, he would have been the DA or something cool like that.
But the DA was already in on the thing, right?
Maybe next movie we'll see. Like, it feels weird. Is it just me?
If there's another movie, I think you'd have to have Harvey Dent as running for DA or something. I don't think you can just do he's the DA, but also you can't just do the Dark Knight stuff where the next movie has the Joker and Two-Face and stuff, right?
I don't think they're doing Joker next movie.
I don't know.
I think
they introduce him, don't they?
They do.
There was no Court of Owls in this movie, which I'm slightly disappointed by, but I don't think it hurts my view of the movie at all. But I was hoping.
I would not hurt my view of the movie if they didn't have Robin in it. So you better not be upset. You have to expect the movie.
I was disappointed because I'd like to see them make another appearance in live action.
There's already going to be a game about the Court of Owls.
Yeah, and I mean they were in Gotham too. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. No green suit.
But that's also, that video game doesn't have Batman in it.
No, it doesn't.
Right. So, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I want to throw this out there.
Okay.
The running mayor's kid, who I think was the mayor at the time.
Right, Mayor Mitchell's kid, yeah.
He was dressed up as a ninja, and I was like, this is giving me some weird Lego Ninjago, kid running around the house as Kai vibes.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Not really.
There was a music video for the theme song of Lego Ninjago.
Okay.
Of the kid running around the house.
I don't care about this story anymore.
And he was wearing a red ninja
Why
costume.
are we talking about Ninjago? We're talking about the Batman.
And I was like, whoa.
You're so dumb. You're so weird.
That's what I thought of. You can
so
look it up.
weird.
Look up the music
I'm
video.
not looking it up. I could care less.
You guys can look it up. That was like, whoa. I can't say it better than that. I felt like everything was very...
They kind of psych you out at the beginning, though, right? Because they have like the mayor being looked at through binoculars, and maybe you think it's Batman.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not. It's a Riddler.
Yeah, it was... I thought the kid was gonna be Batman, and then we were gonna see his parents get shot again.
No.
But anyway, that's besides the point. I felt like Riddler knew about Batman.
He didn't.
I feel like everything he did was
he
targeted and planned.
I think he hated the people that he was going after so much that that his brain is so broken that he can't imagine Bruce Wayne being Batman. I think that's really it. That there's something in his logic where this guy that I'm idolizing cannot be the same person as the guy that I've hated, which was Bruce Wayne, right?
Mm-hmm.
As being, just totally jealous of, right?
Mm-hmm. But I just think that like everything felt personal to the Batman. The killing of the kid being alive. You think that the Riddler knew that would get Batman invested.
No, I disagree.
It's like,
I mean, he kind of said. Did he say though? I don't remember. Does he say at the end that like, oh, you're also an orphan? They seemed also like an orphan, or I don't remember. It might have been just relating orphans to Bruce as well, though.
I think Riddler definitely knew.
He doesn't, though. He doesn't.
Why do you say that?
Because why wouldn't he just say that then?
He was like,
at the end, he's like, I hate you, Batman. Like, this was not how this was supposed to go. We were supposed to be best friends. And we're supposed to, watch this carnage finally unfold together. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he's like, I hate you. And he would have given up that information.
I don't think he would have.
Yeah,
I definitely don't think he would have.
Totally would have. Why not? Why wouldn't this Riddler not give up that information?
This Riddler, I think, is a lot more schemey.
But what's part of a scheme would that do to not totally oust Batman?
Who knows? I think he definitely knows. And I think that
You're nuts.
You're nuts.
You're nuts.
You're nuts.
There's nothing that implicates that he knows, though.
He was talking to him, and he's like, Bruce Wayne.
Right. And he's like, he's the one that got away. We didn't get him.
Why would he mention that? Really?
Because he's so distraught. He's like, that his plan was so close to working.
Riddler knew. Riddler definitely.
He didn't.
He does.
There's
going to be theories about this, probably talking about it forever.
No, nobody else thinks that Riddler knows that he's Bruce Wayne.
He definitely does.
No, nobody knows. You said that, people are going to be asking. Nobody thinks that. You're the only person that still thinks that.
I was like, oh, he definitely knows.
When you watch it again, you'll know, like, yeah, there's no way he knows.
I definitely want to watch this movie again. Knowing the end result.
This Batman also doesn't really win, ever. He doesn't stop anybody from getting murdered.
No.
He doesn't stop the seawall from getting blown up.
No.
He really loses a lot.
He wins when he stops Selina Kyle from killing.
Sure. He saves her soul, more or less,
yeah.
You're saying.
Yeah.
I guess he stops, Falcone. You're saying when she's trying to kill Falcone.
Yeah.
Not the Kenzie guy.
Yeah. Which, the idea that, like, there's so many parallels between Batman. Like, Batman's, like, always just like, that kid is me. Selina Kyle's kind of like me, how Falcone killed my parents. You know what I mean?
We're still not sure if that's true, though.
It's true. Selina, Catwoman's dad, I guess, is Falcone in this world.
Right, that was one of the twists. Because, the twists are that's one of them. Another's that Riddler doesn't know who Bruce Wayne is.
No,
that's
he does.
The twist.
He
that's
does.
the twist. Because everything's leading up to, like, oh, Riddler knows that I'm Bruce Wayne. He knows, and then it's like, oh no, and you see the relief going to Batman. You don't think that he knew. You don't think that, because you can see the relief in Batman. That's like, oh, he doesn't know, because the music builds up and builds up and builds up until he says he's the only one that got away, and the music stops, and Batman goes into like, oh, I'm fine, I'm safe. You didn't notice that? Like, all the theming to it indicates that Batman is safe from that.
He definitely knows.
He doesn't, though.
He definitely knows.
Everything points
We're
to him
rewatching this movie
knowing.
tomorrow.
I've watched it twice.
And we're going to be right back. Okay? All right. We'll be right back.
No.
All right, and we're back.
I was right.
And we're back, and I was right.
You were wrong.
Right.
You were wrong.
I was right. He even says in the movie, saying, "You're Bruce Wayne." He mutters under your breath. You have to turn subtitles on. He also does like sign language, but it's so dark in the movie because it's always nighttime that you just don't see it.
It's so dark in this movie, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I love the Batmobile in this movie too. This is my favorite Batmobile.
The Batmobile?
Because it's a car. I mean, it's an actual car.
It's not nearly as cool as like what is it?
The Tumbler?
Well, the Tumbler's like a different style thing.
Right, that's a tank. Dude.
Yeah, that's a tank. The other one. What's the other one? The one in Batman. Just Batman.
What, the Batmobile?
With Michael Keaton.
What are you saying?
Michael Keaton Batman. That one's a cooler
the Batmobile? That one's alright, but even I don't see the practicality of that. Outside of that, it's designed to look fast. I think that this one feels like a car, and it's like, I love the muscle sort of car look to it.
This one looks.
I mean, it looks like a car that he would use to chase down enemies.
This one looks like a car. Like, I'd want that car in real life.
I love it, and it's introduced like a monster. Right? Because Penguin looks down the alley like, where are you, Vengeance? They call him Vengeance, too.
They do.
Because he must go around saying, I'm Vengeance, a lot, so people call him Vengeance. But he's still known as Batman.
At the end of the movie, he's like, I'm not Vengeance. I shouldn't be Vengeance.
He's like, Vengeance is... I'm inspiring the wrong people here.
Which is the ultimate message of the movie.
Right. That's true. Which, I like that.
I love that. Love that.
Because I've heard the take that, this movie doesn't like Batman, and that they don't like that this movie is about anti-violent Batman or something. It's like, I don't think that's it. I think it's more that, this Batman is more like you haven't read or watched any of the Watchmen stuff, but this Batman is more like a Rorschach, who's really like just super violent detective type guy. Who he doesn't care about inspiring hope, he just cares about punishing bad people. And in here, he's that, more or less. In that he's not offering any sort of inspiration for other people to do the same, to fight evil. Which is what he is almost immediately in the Dark Knight movies. He's trying to be like a symbol of inspiration for other people, like a Harvey Dent to be a White Knight instead of a Dark Knight. Here he wasn't going for that, and now he's like, maybe I can be this though. Yes. And there's one moment when he was helping the National Guard or whoever, he was putting that person on the stretcher, and she like holds on to him a little bit. That to me, that I don't know, that gave me a lot of feelings about like, oh, he can be this. Maybe. Yeah. He is, and that's great. I think that's the best part of the movie. If that was not the message, I would have given this movie a 0. Right. And I think that because it shows also that like he's been, like we said, he lost a lot. Like in this movie, he doesn't really succeed in saving much of anybody. But he's learned. But not, he's trying to learn from these mistakes, right? Yeah. Which is great. That's what I like about it. Yeah. I also really like how in the beginning of the movie, it kind of has a parallel of, like, the guy that he's trying to save is like, don't hurt me. And he kind of just leaves. Right, because that guy's, like, scared of him, right? There's no sense that this is a superhero. It's more that, this guy is angry about something. He doesn't care. I wish we heard Batman's, like, inner voice a lot more in the movie. I was glad that they limited it to the beginning and the end. Yeah. Otherwise,
they
it
had
would have felt like a Blade Runner. Like, because we never watched original Blade Runner where there was narration. We watched Dune where there was that internal monologue or thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm. I thought they should have done
And
it.
I don't think that's ever good for a movie.
I think they should have done
I
it.
don't think so.
I thought like when he's just alone in the Batcave, I think he should have done it.
I disagree. I think that wrecks movies. Too much of that.
It
I think
works.
it was good for what they were doing. Like, here's me going into it, my mindset, and to catch you guys up as to what I am,
Mm-hmm.
and like where I am in the path of Batman. And then at the end, it's like, this is what I have to do now. I can't just, I can't just be a Dark Knight. I have to be something else.
I really want to see Joaquin Phoenix in this movie.
I don't. Could you imagine Arthur Fleck versus this Batman?
I'm not saying Arthur Fleck.
No,
Fleck.
that's Arthur Fleck, though. What do you mean?
Just having the
You just
actor.
want him to play a
Joaquin
different
Phoenix.
Joker, though.
Yes.
Okay, which is different.
I said Joaquin Phoenix. I didn't say Arthur Fleck. I said Joaquin Phoenix, which
But
is the
could
name
you
of the
imagine
actor.
Arthur Fleck
Oh,
against this
he'll be
Batman?
dead.
He wouldn't stand a chance.
He'll be running around with his clown shoes on.
with his clown shoes, not doing anything because he doesn't have plans. Stuff just happens to him.
Yeah.
It would be just the worst matchup. Just like no shot. Absolutely no shot.
He would go. Batman would walk into his Arthur Fleck's apartment. He's like, "Where is he?" And then you just check the refrigerator, and there he is. He's right in there.
Oh my gosh.
He's in the refrigerator.
I hate that movie.
We gotta review that one sometime.
Really dislike
Retro
that
review.
movie.
Yeah, I wanted him
It's
to
just
show up
not
as a
the
different Joker.
I could maybe understand that, but I'm all right with that tease that we got. I heard that there was a different version of the presentation of the Joker that they thought about, which would have been like more like halfway through the movie he would have met with a proto Joker to try to get into the head of what the Riddler was planning. But I think that would have been not a good idea. Because then you would have been thinking, like, how is he more involved in the story, right? You would have expected more of a twist with him. I think how they did it is the best they could have done it if they were going to do it at all. Right?
Yeah. I would say that I thought long and hard about this though. I think this is a great Batman movie, but I don't know if it's
A great superhero movie? What do you
just a
mean?
great movie.
I think it's a great movie for sure.
It feels like perfect for Batman though.
Right. I'm not sure if it's an awesome superhero movie. Because
Yeah.
it's not really... He doesn't feel like a superhero.
Yeah.
He is a vigilante, like, through and through in this.
I think that the Dark Knight trilogy overall is a good movie, but not a good Batman movie.
Okay. Sure, yeah.
I feel like this is kind of like the opposite of that.
Interesting. This is my favorite Batman movie, I think.
Is it?
I think so. I've thought about it over the past, couple weeks now. I think it might be my favorite Batman movie.
It is. It just seems of like it's as Batman as you can possibly get still.
Like, because, I don't know. Like, comparing it to, I think it's better than the Michael Keaton stuff. I think those are campy. They've got good stuff to them.
This movie
Batman
still has...
Forever sucks. Batman and Robin sucks.
I disagree with you on that.
I think those are not great movies.
Batman Returns is bad. The other two are good in comparison.
I think the Dark Knight movies have a good feel to them, but I don't know, they aren't quite. I don't know.
They aren't really Batman movies.
They don't feel like superhero movies all the time. You know what I mean?
I think the Dark Knight is not even about Batman. It's about the Joker.
Sure. This feels like it's about Batman.
Yes. It entirely does.
Like it does feel like he's the main character. You don't really meet the Riddler until
What's
the
up with,
third act.
What's
right?
up with the Riddler and the duct tape? Can they just like wear a different mask?
What do you mean? The mask isn't duct tape.
Yeah, but why does he duct tape masks to other people?
I don't know. Because you can write on it best.
I guess, right? Everybody knows where it
You
is.
can write lies much clearer on duct tape than on Scotch tape. I don't know what you want from that.
I don't know.
There were some kind of subtle, funny moments also in this movie that I liked.
Very few. This movie had no jokes, which is fine.
right. It's not like jokes, but they were subtle, funny moments like thumb drive, right? Like that was like one of the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
It was when Gordon pulls his like, you could have pulled your punch, man. He's like, I did. That was a good one.
That's
when,
good old.
When he visits, was it Iceberg Lounge like 3 times in like 3 different ways. He goes in first as Batman, and the guy answers the door like the same way. Like then he goes as Bruce, and he goes like he just like fake. Was it Ding Dong ditches them basically?
You audibly laughed.
No, because I'm like, they did it 3 times. He like knocks on the door of this lounge. And it was awesome all time, every time. Because they like to mirror everything, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like mirroring this scene or this character in this other person.
Yeah.
I like the whole El Rata Alada. And Penguin's like, that's the worst Spanish I've ever heard. It's La Rata, idiots. And they're like, what?
That's not, Penguin was the comedy relief. He never carries an umbrella. I wish he was an umbrella boy.
Who cares if you're an umbrella?
I want him to have an umbrella gun. If Batman can have cameras in his eyes, we can have him have an umbrella.
How'd you feel about his like flying squirrel suit instead of like just using his cape to fly?
It makes sense. I'm okay with it.
And then he like totally should have got a concussion from that fall.
He should have got a concussion when he was, I don't know, exploded by a bomb.
Oh.
No damage done to him, really. He was knocked out for however long.
Yeah, and nobody took off his mask.
I think that Jim Gordon was like right on the scene, like, don't touch his mask.
You can imagine. He was trying real hard. It's like, this guy's a good resource for me. I can't blow it.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make me commissioner someday.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about with this? We're at over an hour. We're at over an hour and 10 minutes now.
Do you want them to somehow reboot the DCEU with this? Or fold this in there?
I don't think they should. I don't think they can. Just keep this as its own thing, I guess.
Wow.
Because I can't. Because they're really trying to make this like a realistic world, which I guess is their choice. I wouldn't have tried to do that. I would have tried to do a Gotham-style world, where it's like, where they just start introducing wacky, weird things.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, there's a guy that can freeze you with a gun. Or there's somebody that can hypnotize you. I think they could still do that. I think like hypnosis they could do. But, you know, a lot of those more wacky rogues, like a Poison Ivy, you can't really do in this world. Not to the same extent as modern versions of her.
My thing is if they bring back like Superman, how could he fit in this and team up with Batman? And then Batman goes back to doing these sorts of movies.
Right. I don't know.
I'm curious how this can fit into things. If it needs to.
It can't. I don't think it can, really.
I don't think it can.
If you needed to, you could try. You could definitely try, but...
Or
I don't think
what you could say is that these are all in the same... Like, you just say, it's like, yeah, they're all in the same DC universe, but these superheroes just don't really meet each other.
Yeah, I don't care for that.
We'll see what happens after Flashpoint. Maybe Flashpoint will rope in this some way.
They'll do an Earth Prime type thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
I think we're going to see the Snyderverse and the Joss Whedon-verse and stuff all kind of show up. It's like, what? There's 2? This is what if...
that'd be weird.
That's my thing for the Flashpoint thing.
All right, we'll finish. That's the end of spoilers, I'd say. So, upcoming podcast, I think we want to try to record another Sci-Fi Showdown with a bit different formatting. Also, our website's coming very soon. It's almost here.
Very soon. We've been saying it for a year.
No, but now that we've been saying that, hopefully we'll get that up. Now it's like imminent, this launch. I've got stuff uploaded to our prototype, like all of our previous episodes.
Yep.
So it's imminent to launch.
Yep. Spotify.
Yeah.
On the way.
Hopefully. I still don't know quite how they work.
I looked at it a little bit.
Yeah.
Our website maker, he knows.
We'll see.
He knows. You need the website to really get on Spotify.
Well, yeah, that's what we know, but
He knows exactly what it is.
I don't know if there's some that you have to pay to put your podcast on. Or I don't know if you have to have some certain quality standards.
I mean, it probably needs to be approved, but I don't think they're going to say
I
no.
don't know. Anything else you want to bring up? No? All right.
No.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast, and check us out on Twitter, and we'll have that new website up. This has been your Captain Kenny with my XO,
Joey.
and this has been the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast.